So we've all watched AI grow up, right? From these simple chatbots into something way more powerful. But how do we actually make that leap? How do we get from an AI that just, well, chats to one that can research, take action, and even start to reason on its own? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down.
You know the feeling, right? You ask a chatbot a question, and it gives you this super confident answer that is completely, totally wrong. It's what people call hallucination. I mean, it might invent a historical fact out of thin air, or even cite legal cases that just don't exist. So what on earth is going on here?
Well, it really just boils down to this one simple fact. A standard large language model, or LLM, only knows what it learned during its training. That's it. Its knowledge is basically frozen in time. It can't just go and look up new information, it can't access your company's private files, and it definitely can't check today's news. It's like it's locked in this massive library, but no new books are ever allowed in.
So how do we fix that? How do we break it out of that locked library? Well, the first big step forward is a technique that gives the AI its very own, up-to-date library it can check out anytime it wants. This is where we introduce our first character, the AI librarian.
It's a mouthful, but it's called Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or, much easier to say, RAG. Here's the idea. Instead of just relying on its old static memory, a RAG system first goes out and retrieves relevant facts from a knowledge base you give it, like your company's internal manuals or the latest industry reports. Then it uses that fresh info to generate its answer. This simple step grounds the AI's response in verifiable facts, which, as you can imagine, is a total game changer for accuracy. Okay, so this diagram here really shows you the magic behind the curtain. When you ask a question, the system doesn't just send it to the brain. First, it goes to its library and finds the most relevant little snippets of information. Then, it bundles your original question with that new context and sends the whole package to the LLM. The result? You get an answer that's not just clever, but actually up to date and based on facts.
And listen, this isn't just some theory. It's already out there in the real world. In healthcare, RAG systems are helping doctors make faster, better informed decisions. Morgan Stanley armed its financial advisors with a RAG system so they can instantly pull insights from a huge internal knowledge base. And hey, if you've ever used Shopify's Sidekick chatbot, you've literally seen RAG in action, pulling specific answers right out of their support docs.
Okay, so RAG gives our AI knowledge. It can know things. That's huge. But what about action? What if we wanted to actually, do things? That brings us to the next piece of this puzzle, the AI doer.
And this is where something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP, comes into play. If RAG gives the AI a library to read from, you can think of MCP as giving it a whole toolbox to act with. It's what allows the AI to use APIs to do things like check a live database, shoot off an email, or even book your next flight. It's the critical bridge between the AI's brain and the real world.
This table just lays it all out perfectly. RAG is all about retrieving knowledge from static files to answer questions accurately. MCP, on the other hand, is all about taking action and interacting with live data to get tasks done. So you'd use RAG to find the company's return policy, but you'd use MCP to actually process the return. See the difference? Knowing versus doing.
All right, so we've given our AI a library for knowledge with RAG and a toolbox for action with MCP. But how does it know which one to use and when? We're missing a decision maker. We need to give it a brain.
I absolutely love this quote from the LLM devs community over on Reddit. It just perfectly nails what this final piece is all about. An AI agent. That's what ties this whole thing together. It's the part that brings reasoning and planning to the table to figure out how to achieve a goal.
So here's the crucial point. The agent is the conductor of this whole orchestra. It takes a look at your request, breaks it down into steps, and then decides, okay, for step 1, do I need to look something up using my library, using RAG, or do I need to perform an action using one of my MCP tools, or maybe I need to do both? It's the strategist.
Let's make this super concrete with a simple example. Let's say you ask a question. First, the librarian, that's RAG, finds the answer in your knowledge base. Great. Then the doer, that's MCP, connects to the Slack API, ready to post that answer. But hold on, where should it post it? That's where the thinker, the agent, steps in. It looks at the answer and thinks, aha, this is a technical update. It belongs in the #engineering channel. See how they all have to work together? It's a team effort.
So there we have it, our 3 core components: the librarian for knowing, the doer for acting, and the thinker for deciding. But as you can probably guess, getting all these different parts to play nicely together, well, that's where things can get a little tricky.
Because the most powerful AI applications out there aren't just RAG systems or MCP systems. No way. They're hybrid agentic systems that use all three of these components in a continuous loop. RAG feeds it the facts, MCP gives it the ability to act, and the agent orchestrates the entire workflow from start to finish. But of course, it's not always a walk in the park. With RAG, for instance, you've got these little traps you can fall into. If you split your documents up badly, you can lose crucial context. Your info could be outdated. There's even this weird thing called the lost in the middle problem, where an AI might just ignore key facts if they're buried deep in a document. And yeah, you can actually confuse it by giving it too much information.
And MCP has its own set of challenges. If a tool's purpose isn't crystal clear, the AI just won't know how to use it right. Even more important, the second you give an AI the power to act in the real world, you're opening up a whole can of worms with security. You need absolutely rock-solid security to prevent misuse. And of course, your system has to be smart enough to handle things gracefully when one of its tools just fails.
When you put it all together, the journey is just incredible. We started with an AI that could only know things from its past training. Then we gave it a library with RAG, letting it access new facts. Then we gave it tools with MCP, letting it take action. And finally, with agents, we gave it a brain to reason, to plan, and to bring it all together.
So we're building an AI that can know, do, and think. It really feels like we're on the cusp of something amazing. And it leaves us with the really big question: what are the truly important problems we should be asking it to solve now? Thanks for digging into this with me.